around 2007 it was. Tom Sycophus was living in our living room for the second time. In between, he had been living in the woods. Before he moved in with us, he lived in a van. And my dad liked Mr. Tom. Mr. Tom had all the answers to our computer problems. You see, my dad had 2 young sons, and all of our computers were broken with porn viruses. Tom would solve our virus problem. He lived in the house. He had been a crackhead. Poor old Tom. He was a genius. You see, Tom was a genius. I cannot explain to you his genius. You're going to have to trust me on this. I know that he was a genius because my dad told me, and I was a young teenager, and I took his word for it. I loved my dad. I trusted my dad. My dad liked Tom. My mom wasn't a fan of Tom living in our house on our sofa, but it was important to my dad to help him. Tom fixed computers. He was a computer crackhead techno guy. Tom loved techno music. He showed me this song, and he showed me Alice DJ. I remember when I was 15, I got my first $100 bill for my birthday, and I left it on my nightstand, and it disappeared the next morning. I'm sure that Tom stole it. And I was so mad. I remember I had filled up a baggie with flour part way, and I pretended like I found it among his things. One time I was mad at my dad, and I left the house, and I went and I took a 2-hour walk to my girlfriend's house. And my dad had Tom intercept me on the other side of the Harvey Tunnel. It was about 10 o'clock at night, and Tom said, "Don't tell your dad, but I have to go help my friend in New Orleans." So we were in one of those traditional white work vans, and I sat in the back of it on the floor. I don't know why. I sat in the back on the floor. I think that's just where he told me to sit, and I obeyed. About 15 minutes later, we're driving through the projects in New Orleans, and he parks the van, and he says, "Don't get out." And then he got out and he went into his place, and maybe 10, 15 minutes later, he comes out, and a fella came behind him and got in the van with me and sat on the floor, and he dapped me off. And maybe 5 minutes later, the door opened up, and a lady, I don't know if you'd call her a lady. We are in the projects in New Orleans. Anyway, she came out of the building holding a baby, screaming at somebody on the inside. "I don't care what you say. This is my baby. You ain't taking my baby." I don't know whose baby it was, but she said it was her baby, although there was obviously somebody inside that thought it was someone else's baby. Anyway, she got in the van too with the baby, and Tom got in the van quick, and he was already in there. And then we left quickly. We left very quickly. I remember that Tom drove very quickly. I remember that I didn't feel safe. And then he dropped them off, and then we went home, and I didn't mention it to my dad because I liked Mr. Tom. Mr. Tom was a cool computer guy. I remember I used to love stick figure animations, and I got this software where I can make my own. And frame by frame, I made my own stick figure animation. And I spent 4 hours on this animation, and then suddenly my cursor started to move. And I was like, what the H? And it moved up to the X at the top, and it freaking closed. And then I was like, what's going on? And I went out into the den, and then Tom laughed. That's how he laughed. Small white guy with big glasses. Tom hacked my computer. He hacked my computer and he closed my shit. Pissed me off. Anyway, I think I witnessed him be an accomplice to kidnapping a baby. This was after Katrina, and my dad called Tom, see what he was up to while he was on his way home to our house that we were fixing after Katrina. Tom said he wasn't there, and my dad said that he was just waking up. Anyway, when he got there, Tom was there stealing his power tools, and he followed him up the interstate and he chased him down Frederica. He chased him against traffic down Terry Parkway, and eventually my dad bailed because they were driving against traffic. And he called the police, and the police found Tom in Algiers in a crack house, and he went to prison for 7 years. And I told my friend this story, and she said, that sounds like Tommy. Tommy. Okay, so apparently while Tom was living in our house, he was also the computer guy for my friend and her family. And I didn't even tell you about the scam. After Tom went to prison and my dad brought our computers to this computer store, they found software on our computers where they were timed to crash. So every X amount of weeks, the computers would crash because of Tom's software. And then my dad would pay Tom to fix the computer. And my friend said, yeah, he did that to us too. So to us, he was Tom. To them, he was Tommy. And anyway, I don't know. Amazing thing. I wonder how he's doing. He used to pinch me. This fucking guy, he would make a fist and then move his thumb up and down like a mouth, and then he would swerve his arm like a snake, and he would go. And he would open the mouth of his hand and go, and then he'd reach and he'd pinch the shit out of me. What the fuck? And then he'd laugh like some fucking techno crackhead witch. Jesus. I wonder if he found Jesus. I think I should look for him. I remember one time I came home and Tom was blasted. Tom, he was like he didn't have any bones, and he was just falling all over. And he's talking, addressing my dad, and he was saying, Tony, man, I love you, bro. Tony, really? And I'm like, Dad, what the fuck is up with Tom? And he's like, dude, I don't know. We went to the bar. He had one shot of Jägermeister. He had one shot of Jaeger. And it totally fucked him up. Man, these are good memories. These are really good memories. He had a warrant in Houston at the time when he was arrested. I wonder how long he actually wound up going to prison. You know, random thing. I wound up selling cars for his cousin. His cousin's a weird guy. His cousin is also named Tom, but he's more of a really stern kind of guy. Smart guy also. Very stern. I told him that he reminded me of this guy, Tom Sycophus, and he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? How do you know that name? How do you know him? Apparently he hates that guy. He's a fucking idiot. Fuck him. Had a very kind of Jersey way of talking, Tom the manager, not Tom the sycophus. I don't know, I'm having fun talking about this. Alright, well, I have nothing left to say.